Good Wednesday morning, everybody. How are you? My name is Crystal Holloman, joined here by First Alert Meteorologist Justin Bradford. And quite a drive into work today.
Yeah, not too much concern with the ice, but more just the visibility outside. And we had a couple of 2-hour school delays in a lot of mid-Michigan locations today. A few closures, a lot more of that is due to the fog than anything else outside right now. Visibility has just been very low this morning, and we have had a few dense fog advisories, a lot going on in our atmosphere. But the good news is that it's a milder trend, and so not as much of a concern as far as the iciness on any surfaces of the roads out there.
I did, if it was a spot like in a parking lot that hadn't been treated, it's still icy.
Yeah, some of those are still slick, and I noticed walking in even this morning coming into work, there were a few spots in our parking lot that some of it is treated, but the spots where you're going over a few of the empty parking spaces people don't really use a lot around here, I noticed there was a little less traction as I was walking, and so I'm like, okay, still a bit of that.
Yeah, be careful still.
And I noticed people were driving below posted speeds on most roads this morning on First Alert traffic, which is good, even though we haven't had really any accidents to report, which we hope continues to be the case. The visibility being down definitely doesn't help, especially when you're out towards the wooded areas, which have some locally dense fog.
So we just took a look at the sky cam, and I was like, are you sure it's Jackson?
Yeah, that's the thing. As far as we know, I see the square down there, so I feel pretty confident that there are some buildings still out that direction, but there's a lot going on. And again, the foggy conditions are just the beginning of it. We have a little bit of rain coming down across the area today. The good thing is, again, temperatures are staying above freezing in most spots, and so that'll help kind of mitigate or limit any of the issues that we see. So 35, the current number in Jackson. I want to talk about a bunch of different things going on today. Threw this graphic together this morning because we've been talking about it for a couple of the days. The different portions and parts of the water cycle. And so we have precipitation coming down today. That simply enough, and it will be today, is rain or whatever water product you have falling from the sky. So that, of course, can be rain, sleet, snow, whatever else. Well, condensation is what you get to form clouds, and really fog is just a cloud that forms at the surface. And so water vapor attaches to dust and other particles in the atmosphere, and that particulate matter, when it takes on the water vapor, limits visibility, becomes fog. The air is very dense, in its field, very damp. So condensation also occurring. We also have evaporation. That's where any of the standing water out there from snow or ice that has melted, or rainwater out there, is turning back into water vapor. And that process from a liquid to a gas is evaporation. But here's the one that had a lot of people in our newsroom chuckling over the past couple of days: sublimation. That's been my weather word of the week. That's where we take the snow or the ice and we turn that straight into water vapor without first melting into water. And so that's just a part of the water cycle process, and so we figured we'd just kind of briefly mention that because we've been having a little fun with it in here. So if you're looking outside, and a lot of this fog that we're seeing is not only due to the settling of the air with calm winds in the atmosphere, but also we're seeing the snow and ice begin to both melt and sublimate, which is where it's coming straight up into the water vapor form. And so that's been the fun weather word of the week. Once again, if you're looking outside, you'll see some sublimation and you'll see some evaporation. All of the fog is condensation, and we've got some precipitation as well. That's been falling as rain, which we'll look at in a moment. Dense fog advisories do go until 11 o'clock, and I have a feeling this is not the only time this week we will see one of these. I feel like we'll bring a couple, maybe a few more dense fog advisories back in before the week is over. But the current one will expire at 11 a.m. That does not mean we won't still have pockets of fog through the afternoon. These advisories are issued when we expect visibility to be around a quarter mile or less. And all across mid-Michigan this morning it has been. We're seeing a few improvements like in Mason where they're trying to get back up to about close to a mile, and same with Ann Arbor. But a lot of places you see the 0.3. We only go to one digit, and so often the 0.3 really is a 0.25 and the 0.8 is really a 0.75, but we're rounding. And so your relative visibility there is still very low no matter where you go in mid-Michigan. So again, please continue to be vigilant out there. We're also seeing some light rain move into mid-Michigan, but you're noticing that even some of this is eroding as it does so before reaching the surface, losing a bit of its steam. However, we still have got plenty more to come. A system off to our south and west is going to bring some of that into mid-Michigan, and so that's what we have going on as we go throughout our daytime today. A little bit more rain as we get into our hour-by-hour forecast to discuss as well. Again, today we know it's coming down from time to time. This evening it'll become a bit more spotty in nature and then eventually fade away past dinner time, but we still go back to foggy conditions most of tonight. I would not be surprised if another dense fog advisory goes out for late tonight, but that'll remain to be seen what the National Weather Service decides to do there. And I think most of Thursday, other than maybe a little brief drizzle, is probably a dry day with more fog than anything else. You see the temperatures here still mid to upper 30s. Most of the rain probably does not come until after the sun goes down Thursday, but it does come back, and you'll see this heading into Thursday evening and then eventually the overnight. There are some heavier bands with this rain as it comes through. I suspect that we may get half inch in most places, if not more than that, of water, which in January, when you've got a lot of snow still out there on the ground, is going to cause a lot of melting, and we'll see area creeks, rivers, streams fill up to maybe to their banks even. And so those prone areas to flooding, the low-lying areas in your yard, expect that those are going to be water covered by the time we hit the weekend, certainly, but maybe before that with this rain moving through. It does get out of here on Friday, and we end the day, again, dry, but with more fog, and so that's kind of the case heading out into the weekend as well, moving forward. But we do have promise for the people looking for warmer weather. That bullseye still right above the Great Lakes for in the 8 to 14 day outlook for above normal temperatures for the whole first week of February. It's looking like we will certainly be in the 40s every day, and maybe have a couple in the 50s, and so that's what we have in the 10-day forecast to look at. We see again rain and fog are going to dominate the forecast. Saturday you see that little tiny cloud low. That's just because there's not going to be any rain, but there is going to be fog on Saturday, continuing in the first part of the day at least, maybe even into the afternoon. And then on Sunday, a weak disturbance that comes through Saturday night, which starts as maybe a mix of light rain and snow, no ice or anything, but maybe some light drizzle and a few snowflakes mixing in. That does not look like it's going to accumulate. And temperatures, again, are staying above freezing, even the lows all the way through the weekend. And then early next week, our lows are upper 20s, but we're dry, and the highs are in the 30s, and then we're back to the 40s Tuesday and beyond. Thursday, at the end of this 10-day or towards it, is February 1st. Whew. Friday is Groundhog Day. That's what that little rodent guy there is. It's a little groundhog with a top hat on. That's Punxsutawney Phil, I believe, or his iteration, or something like that. Yeah. 51, my current forecast high for Friday, and that puts us 20 degrees above normal by the time we get there. And so that's what we're going to have going on. You see also that the lows, by the time we get to the tail end of this 10-day, are working up into the 30s again, like they are these next few days, but those are going to be with dry weather and not as much of the fog. And by the time we get there, I suspect when February starts, we're not going to have any more of the snowpack that you're still seeing outside right now. And when you have 50-degree temperatures, which are also kind of taking the snowpack into account right now, it's possible that maybe we see a few of those numbers go a bit higher once we get out there. And so, especially if the ground is bare and if we get a little bit more in the way of sunshine than we thought. South wind, when you're seeing a dry surface, can really warm us up even in February as we're continuing to increase our sun angle in direct sunshine as we head towards the summertime, which is a distant quite a bit of a distance away from us right now, but the angle is starting to again improve, and so we're going to have better opportunities the further along we get from this point forward to make it easier for us to get warmer. And so I think there's a really good bet that sometime within February's first week everybody hits 50 degrees, but that'll remain to be seen. Of course, that forecast could change slightly, but the confidence is, as you saw, very, very high for above average temps. I mean, it's not often in this time of year that you see maps that look like this one does, where virtually the entire country is expecting above normal temperatures, with the only exception being near San Diego, which, no offense, but cry me a river. I mean, the weather's great there most of the year, and so, you know, if you're slightly, and that's slightly below, I mean,
well, I mean,
what? It's only going to be 68 there or something? Come on.
Right? And so it's above average. You see it right there over like Illinois, but look at the UP. It's even more above average.
Yeah, and this, of course, this is all relative to the temperatures for the time of year, but we're going to be pretty similar with temperatures, maybe a little warmer than they are in the UP, but versus the seasonal averages, theirs are lower than ours. So, you know, them getting to 50 versus us getting to 55 is about what the similarity would be. And so that's why they have a higher likelihood, because we're expecting that those temperatures and the high pressure setups are going to be right over the top of the Great Lakes. And that tends this time of year to lead to some dry weather and some warm weather when you tap into that south wind. So, and that's what we'll be doing once we get towards the tail end of next week. We'll be following that warming trend all the way through. And so it's something to look forward to for most folks around mid-Michigan moving forward. So that's kind of what we've got. Once again, 30s to near 40 the next few days. Even early next week, 35 is above normal on Monday. It's the coldest day in my 10-day. We go right back to 40 Tuesday, through the 40s to end January on Wednesday, begin February Thursday, and once again by Groundhog Day. 51 is my current forecast high. There's no doubt that some of these numbers will change slightly, but the trend is favoring us getting back to some warmth by the tail end of next week. And so for the folks who maybe still have holiday lights that are up and things like that, if they've been meaning to take them down, I know some people enjoy keeping them up longer, which, hey, no problem with me there either. But if you've been looking for an opportunity to maybe remove some of those things, get out the ladder and maybe go and do all that, I think maybe by the end of next week you'll have a good opportunity once this snow has melted all off and away and has sublimated up into our atmosphere once again. Once that does that, we should be able to have some good opportunities, because 50 the first day or two of February feels like 70.
Right.
And, I'm sure we'll see a lot of Michiganders out there in some shorts by the time we get there. And I may be one of them.
Right.
So
what's crazy is we're already talking about February. Everybody says January goes by so fast. We're talking about February, and the Lions are still playing.
It's crazy.
Right?
It's crazy. And I really hope, obviously they have a game coming up on Sunday.
Yep.
I really hope they're still playing in February. And I'm not just talking about our Pro Bowlers either. So hopefully they're playing for something in February. But, we'll keep our fingers crossed, cheer them on this weekend. If anybody happens to be traveling out to the game, wow, enjoy if you are. That should be a really, really fun atmosphere. Lions fans have traveled better than any NFL fan base. And I've been to road games and been enjoying it. Green Bay was incredible. Not so fun on Thanksgiving when they came to our place. But,
Arrowhead was great. Miami was good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just incredible. And every game you've seen that they've gone on the road, they've traveled so well. I think it's going to be cool to see how many fans show out, because the Lions are sort of becoming the darling of the country. They are definitely the underdog, because even though there's another 3 seed, the Chiefs on the other side, those guys have been in this position every year of Patrick Mahomes' career, and so they're kind of the new Patriots in a sense, in which they're always seeming to compete for the title.
But the last 3 Super Bowl champions, the Rams, the Bucks, and the Chiefs, Lions have beat them all.
That's true. That's true. We have done that. And, I feel, I'll just share quick thoughts, because we can't sit here forever, but I feel pretty confident I'm not trying to look ahead of the 49ers, because they're a really, really tough matchup, but if we are lucky enough to walk out of there with a win and move on to the big game, I would much prefer to face the Chiefs, and not just because we've beaten them this year, but I think we're a better matchup, because for whatever reason, I know a lot of teams struggle with it too, but we are one of them. We cannot defend the Lamar Jackson offense. We just can't do it. And it's been the case for years, and Lions fans who have been watching for many years know that when we play the Ravens and that offense, we cannot stop them from scoring points. And so I fear that if we were to make the Super Bowl and face them, it might be a really tough day. I always am optimistic, especially with the way the season's gone, but I think the Chiefs would be a better matchup for us if they're able to take the Ravens out for us.
Please
help us out. And so we'll see how things go. And plus, I think, outside of I love everything on the football field more than anything, but to have the storyline of Eminem and Taylor Swift would be really fun too. And so, that'd be kind of cool. So
I do not. So my fantasy football league from this past season that just ended.
Yeah.
My 2 quarterbacks were Goff and Jackson. So
there you go. Can't go wrong.
There's a reason I had them.
Can't go wrong.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So if you are planning to go, or if you're like Chris here, who is traveling to Evanston, Illinois, looking for the weather, a really great tool to have is the First Alert weather app.
Yeah,
it will follow you.
Absolutely, and so that's definitely the best tool if you're not able to catch us on air, where we can give you those detailed, up-to-date forecasts, or you don't you want something quick, or you're looking just to kind of get an idea of where you're going. First Alert weather app's great to do that, and whether you're going to Evanston or wherever else, you can look that location up or have your location followed on the app when you're using it, and it'll give you an up-to-date First Alert forecast for that location. And so that's definitely a great tool to have, and it's got all the wonderful features that we always tout, which are great for you to have. And Chris, for you traveling to Evanston today, You're going to be driving through a little bit of rain and possibly some fog doing it. You should be able to make it without a problem. There's no icy concerns as you get further south and west towards the state of Illinois. I know Evanston, you're going a ways south to get down there, but hopefully smooth travels for you. I don't think there should be any major issues other than driving through some shower activity along the way. So just, use those low beams, make sure they're on, and be safe and safe travels. Enjoy being down there.
And you could be like Chris when you tune in live and ask questions, and then the meteorologist answers right for you.
And I will answer your questions, even if you ask a question that I'm not a fan of. I will address it. Even if I say not today, sorry.
Today, sorry.
I'll make sure to do it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Justin. I know you were pulling some extra duty today for Darren, so we appreciate it. Colton's going to be in here a little bit later on News 10 Today at 11 with Taylor Gattoni. And here is what you can expect then. We were just talking about how there is still a little bit of ice out there, and you need to be careful. Also, maybe you're up on the ladder taking those Christmas lights down, and you might slip and fall down. So we're going to be talking about how to avoid winter injuries, especially those falls that can be so painful and so devastating sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Of course.
So make sure you're careful on that. Plus, we were talking about Lions fans, and then we have an interview with one who is going to San Francisco. I tried to make it cute and say Lions fan to San Fran.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't want to misspell Francisco again.
Okay, fair
so
enough.
I did it that way.
Did that happen once?
Yep, happened yesterday.
Oh.
And we will also have the State of the State preview. That is tonight at 7 o'clock. And we'll be back here at 2 o'clock with more weather updates, plus what we're working on for Studio 10 and our 90 minutes of news, starting with First at 4. And like I said, State of the State preview coming up. We will be carrying that on WILX. It's going to be on our Heroes and Icons channel 10.3. We will also have it on our website, on our Facebook page, and our YouTube page. So pretty much anywhere you're watching us right now, we will also be carrying the State of the State address live tonight at 7 p.m. So make sure you tune in for that.
Yeah.
I'll be back here. No, Taylor just came in. Taylor will be back here. Taylor's here. Taylor will be here at 2 o'clock with more weather and news. Until then, stay safe, everybody, and have a great Wednesday.
See ya.